Alex, a lot happened over the weekend.
Yep.
And I don't even I mentioned it with the AL West, but I can't quite fathom the result. There were 3 possible outcomes, and this seemed like the least likely one.
Well, and it seemed like no one wanted to win it. Like this last couple of weeks of the season, like it could have been the Rangers, Astros, and Mariners even had a possibility of like somehow sneaking in and taking that first one. But with the Rangers and the Astros win, it kicked the Mariners out of the playoffs on Sunday, but then Sunday determined who was going to win the AL West.
I probably should have mentioned before this point that the Astros did win the American League West.
Yes.
And it all came down to Sunday. And as Alex just mentioned, the way both series had played out with the Mariners winning the first 2, the Rangers just everybody got closer and closer together. But then it all comes down to Sunday, and the Mariners had been eliminated. Saturday night, the Mariners end up being eliminated.
Heartbreaking.
Astros had won the first 2 games against the D-backs, so they were still 1 game behind the Rangers. And then Sunday, all the Rangers needed to do was win, and you win the division against a team that was just eliminated and isn't playing for anything. I mean, they ran into George Kirby, who threw great, but the teams, it meant nothing. And the Mariners scored 1 run. That's all it took. It was a 1-0 ball game, the biggest game of the year, a massive game for the Rangers, obviously, to win the division, yes. But seeding-wise, you go from the 2 down to a wild card team just like that. Next thing you know, you're having to play the Rays as the 5 seed, and you got to play the 4 seed in the first round. And that's just, worst case scenario for the Rangers there. I mean, what an absolute choke job on Sunday.
Well, I think the worst case scenario was that the Rangers, they've been streaky the second half of the season, obviously, right? They were great the first half, really had control of the AL West, and then went on that really tough slump. Then they seemed to start to kind of get the juice and the flow back and started to win some games and look like they could once again possibly win the AL West. But then the last 7 of the 10 games were against the Mariners and went on another bad slump at the wrong time. And now they're facing a team in Tampa Bay that is kind of on that opposite side and playing really good baseball right now.
So Astros end up winning the AL West. Never doubted it. There were never any doubts at any point. Clearly it was going to be the Astros.
Not freaking out the entire time?
What a wild division it was this year. In the wise words of Alex Bregman, everybody wanted to know what it's going to be like when the Astros don't win the division. But I guess we're not going to find out.
That was a pretty epic speech to then pop the champagne bottles. That was good. That was great.
AL West, Mariners out altogether. Rangers, the 5 seed. The Houston Astros do wind up with a bye. You could have told me they could have been out. If you were to ask me last week, what do you think is more likely to happen? The Astros win the division or miss the playoffs? I probably would have said miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
I always thought they were going to get in. But did I think they were going to win the division? Everything needed to play out perfectly. They played really, really well against the Diamondbacks. A couple good games in that series. Justin threw really, really well in the clincher on Saturday. 5 shutout innings there. Huge game. And then they end up dominating on Sunday.
Justin really having back-to-back really important dominating starts that ultimately helped this team get into the postseason.
13 innings, last 13 innings, 1 run. And he didn't even give it up, but it's his run because he gave up a hit in the 9th against the Mariners. Gave up that hit in the 9th, ends up coming out, giving up that run, comes in. That outing, 5 innings, no runs. 13 straight innings. 13 innings with just 1 run. So Astros end up winning the division. Mariners out. Rangers wild card.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Let's move to the National League because you got the D-backs and the Marlins in and the Cubs out.
What a collapse from the Cubs.
Again, worst time to go on a losing streak.
I mean, the writing was on the wall when they had the first 2 games in their hands against the Braves.
Yeah.
And then
they blew
it. Suzuki, that play, that's a loss. And then the next game, they blow it. Bad defense in that game as well. Yeah, I mean, look, did the Cubs overperform this year from what people thought? Yes. But does that make this any better?
No.
No. I mean, this is a nightmare of a finish. And they're now missing the playoffs. Marlins did end up getting in, and the D-backs get in as well. We can see the D-backs are the 6th seed. Marlins end up being the 5 seed. So what Alex and I talked about on, was it the Friday show? All the possibilities. And then we talked about the Marlins Mets like postponement. That was Friday's episode.
Yeah.
So they're not going back to New York to finish that game on Monday. This is locked in. Marlins are the 5. Diamondbacks are the 6. They end up a half a game ahead of the D-backs. The reason they don't have to go back and play that game is because even if they lose, they hold the tiebreaker over the Diamondbacks and would be the 5 anyway.
Honestly, like, I'm happy for them because that would suck.
It would suck.
Like, you're one day off where everybody has a day off to kind of reset before you get into the postseason. You have to fly to New York and play 1 inning. That's just brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.